We are going to see in this video how to perform two basic operations with raster layers: cutting a raster layer and resampling a raster layer. Cutting a raster layer means reducing the extent of the layer. So if I have this layer that you can see in the screen and it's too big, it covers a region that is too big for you. You want to analyze this smaller region, then you have to cut it. It's a good idea because you will have less data and everything will go faster and you don't have to work with the whole extent of the layer. Resampling the layer means reducing the precision, the resolution of the layer. So if each of the cells in the layer have a certain size, you do that bigger. You make that size bigger, so the layer will contain less cells and it will be less precise, but also it will go faster, it will process faster because there's less data you have here. Basically what you do when you resample a raster layer is the same thing that you do when you have a digital photograph, a digital picture, and you change the number, the amount of pixels. So you have 10 megapixels and you reduce it to 2 or 3 megapixels because you want to send it by email and it's too big. Basically it's the same idea. So let's see how to do that in Sextante. If you go to a toolbox, you're not going to find algorithms to do that. If I look in cut, for example, there's no algorithm that is called cut or any similar name. We have seen that you can cut or crop a layer if you have a polygon layer. So you can crop a grid with polygon layer. So you need a polygon. In case you want to do that, you can define a polygon, create a polygon, and then crop it. But if you wanted to do it just with coordinates that you want to cover, the coordinates of the rectangle that you want to cover in the new layer, in the crop layer, then there's no algorithm to do so. The reason for that is that you can do it directly with the raster calculator. So if you go to the raster calculator, you can easily do that. What you have to do is to select as the formula just the name of the layer. So you're not multiplying it by anything, you're not performing any operation, just the layer itself. And then you select here in the output region the new extent that you want. Use it define and you select it here. A new option that you have is to use that button. This has recently been added to Sextante, and if you click on that button you can select points that you have stored using the catch coordinates utility. I don't have any point, but I'm going to capture a couple of points here. So catch coordinate, and I click in here, for instance, and I call it new point, and then here to define another point, and I call it new point 2. Now I have 2 points and I can use both of them to define the rectangle that defines my extent. I go back to raster calculator, I enter my formula, just the name of the detail elevation model that I want to cut, and then the output region, so user define. I click here, I will see this dialog here, and I select the 2 points that I want to use, new point and new point 2, and the coordinates are entered here automatically. And I select the same cell size as the input layer, which is in this case 25 meters. Now I click on OK. And there it is, my new layer. You can see that now it discovers the extent that I have defined. If you want to resample a layer, it's a little bit similar. If you look for resample, here in this case I have algorithms from the GRASS GIS, but you don't have any Sextante algorithm that can perform resampling. That's because we can do it once again with the raster calculator. In this case I select, as I did before, the DM as the only element in my formula, and then the output region I have to select the same extent of the layer, but I change the cell size. So for instance I can enter here 200. So now each cell is going to have 200 meters. If you press enter here, you see that the number of rows and columns is updated, and it's smaller than the previous number of rows and columns. This is everything that I have to enter. I click on OK, and you see I have the new layer, and you can notice how pixels are larger or bigger, and that's because the resolution is coarser. There's not so much accuracy in this layer because I have resampled it to a lower resolution.